This is a little help on worksheet 1-8 for geometry. And remember, we also, while we do these, we create our note card too. So on your note card, you should write area of a rectangle. Is length times width or base times height, whichever you prefer. All right, so area equals base times height. So for number 11, whoops, how about we go back to number 1, rude, huh? Perimeter, we add up all the sides. And I would write that on your note card. Circumference is the distance around the circle. It's 2 times pi times the radius. So I would write both of those on your note card. To find perimeter, add up the sides. To find circumference, we do 2 times pi times r. So remember, with number 2, these little dashes mean all of these are the same. So if that one's 7, this one's 7, 7, 7. So when I go add up the sides, I do 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 to walk around the perimeter of this square. Or 4 times 7 will accomplish the same thing. That would be 28. And we're walking around, it's just a distance, so we label it centimeters. Now when we're doing the circumference, see how it says in terms of pi? Now on your test when it says in terms of pi, you want to know what that means. So if I was doing 2 times 5 times pi, what you do when it says in terms of pi is you leave that in your answer and you do the rest of it on your calculator. So this would be called in terms of pi. So the circumference of a circle is 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, 2 times pi times the radius. So what we need to do is figure out the radius. Well, if the diameter is 16, the radius would have to be 8. So we'd say this is 16, because again, we write the pi down. When it says in terms of pi, you just do the rest of it on your calculator. So this would be 16 times pi. When it says to find the perimeter, we have to go plot them. So r is right here, at 1 to the right, 2 up. S is 1 to the right, 2 down. There's S. And T is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and 2 down. And it says to find the perimeter. So I'm going to walk that way, and that way, and that way. Now, the straight walk down is easy. That's 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks. So I have 4 for that. 1, 2, 3 for that. But this other piece, I don't know. So this was 4, and this was 3. So what we do is the square root of the change in x squared plus the change in y squared. It's the distance formula, also the Pythagorean theorem, 9 times 9, 4 times 4. Add them up, take the root. 25 is what we get when we add it up, and then we take the root for a 5. So to get the perimeter of that one, the vertical, or the left, right, and the up, downs are easy. 4 that way, 3 that way. This one, though, would be the square root of, and my screen moved a little bit. So we need to do 4 plus 3 is 7. That's equivalent of going this way, and then this way. And then for the other one, we use the distance formula, and so we'll get 12 when we add that up. So on the next page, remember the area of a rectangle is base times height, but be careful because we have to have the same units. So remember there's 12 inches in a foot, so that's going to have to get multiplied by 12 if you want to go all inches. Okay? So there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So this is really 300 centimeters by 130 centimeters. So to get the area, we would do 300 times 130. And you do that on a calculator, I'm not doing it for you. And then its label is centimeters times centimeters, or centimeters squared. the area of a circle is equal to pi times the radius squared. When it says in terms of pi, it means put pi in your answer, pi in your answer, pi in your answer. Now you need the radius squared. So in this one, right, to get that radius is half the diameter. So the radius is 100. So we do pi times 100 squared. Oops. The 100 gets written down, the pi gets written down, and we do 100 squared on the calculator. And I'll leave that for you. And I'm not going to finish them all. Next up, we are finding the area. So there's a couple ways to do this, but you need to chop it up into rectangles, or you could really think wisely like a number 17. I think that if I were just to get the area of this plus the area of that, that would be pretty awesome. That would be doable, right? So let's go take a look at that. This one right here is 4 by 8, so 4 times 8. This one up here, the 7, is the whole way, okay? So I've got to go say, well, what's this length right here? And so to get that length right here, I have 4. That's taking me all the way up to here. So what that's going to leave is 3 left for that piece, because this whole way is 7, and I'm going to draw that better with a better color. This whole green is 7, and I don't want the whole green. I just want this piece. So I have to do 7 minus the 4. So I have 4 times 3 that goes right there. So to figure out the total area, you're going to do this one plus this one. And I'll let you take care of that. Lastly, tell whether you're doing area. Area is covering the whole thing, like when you lay carpet or put flooring down. Perimeter is when you're just doing a border. Okay? So crown molding for the ceiling is what you have when you look up at the ceiling and you see this fancy border. So that's perimeter. If it said how many ceiling tiles are on, that's the whole thing. And that's area. Okay, so again, for 21, you're going to have to say, am I just painting around my basement floor? I'm just going to paint around the perimeter, or am I going to paint the area of the basement floor? All right, that's it. Hopefully you're making use of these videos.